All right, so I'm back, and today we're going to start looking at the. I've got 3 different cone heads, so we're going to do how are they holding up with all 3 different cone heads. To start, this is, I believe, the Yes model, KO-ish thrust. And I say KO-ish because, at the time of this release, the MP thrust hadn't come out. So they did the design on the wings and stuff like that on their own. Or stole them from iGear, one of the two. It's hard to say. Because iGear did that years and years and years and years ago. Some of the first early third-party offerings was those things. Kind of a pseudo KO. But, yeah. So, the question is, how is this thing holding up? How does it hold up just on physical standards, and how does it hold up in a modern aesthetics? So my answer on how does it hold up in modern aesthetic wise, this is going to be a real simple one. It don't. This thing looks like crap. I mean, wow. We have come a long way from these earlier days of MP. This thing is just not good looking. It is clunky, it is clumsy, and it does not hold its form. So, first off, thrust wings, according to the cartoon, should be like down here, like this. Something like that. They should be down like this, and all of this stuff will just kind of get in the way for it to do it. It's possible. I like thrust wings up. That's just how I, because my first thrust figure was the Chug thrust, which is he? He's been missing for a while. I always have him like right here, right next to me for review purposes. There he is. And perhaps we'll take a look at him someday. But, his wings were always up. And I always liked that about him. I can do that, or these can be down here. I think I would prefer them down here. So, you've got options on how you want to display them. But anyway, it's like this is the first thrust figure I had was one of these guys, not this particular one, but one of them. And I always, because of that, I always prefer the wings on the upside of things. But for cartoon aesthetics, they should be down like this, and they look awful trying to get them down like that. Alright, so that's for problem number 1 with this figure. Problem number 2, while we're on the topic of the wings, is that these tabs, of course this one's holding in now, these tabs that hold the wings into the torso don't hold in very well. So it's like every now and then you can get them just right and they'll hold up, but the second you look at them wrong, or you try and move the wing or anything, and they'll come undone. He's got the clunky backpack, like all Seekers do. All of this mold does. And then he's just got so many problems. So let's go over articulation real quick. Head is on the ball joint. So you get a little left, a little right. It gets funky because of the way it's cut. A little up, a little down, a little wiggle. Yeah, not great. Shoulders are on ratchets, which are tighter than the joint that holds this into place. As you can see, the other problem I have, which is a very standard problem with the MP11 mold, is these don't always lock in. And it's so aggravating. Like, this is just such poor design to have your figure need to lock in and not actually have it tab in. And it just you know, some of the, I think the BB7 improved on it and the Yes model improved on it, but at the end of the day, the bottom line is that Takara, when they designed it, didn't really give it that much thought, and that's what, there we go, maybe that'll hold it. Okay, but it's still, it's so cumbersome to have to deal with that. I think I got it locked in, and it might, no, maybe, I don't know. Ugh. And so there's now this gap because of the way they redid the transformation. It's a big gap between the shoulders and the pylons, and because of that, you know, that you get that. Anyway, so shoulders, yep, there it goes again. Shoulders up and down, wing flies down, out to the side, biceps swivel, double bend elbow, so pretty good range there. Wrist swivels, ball joint on the thumb, ball joint on the finger with another hinge in there, and then the bottom fingers are on ball joints with a hinge at the bottom. Legs are up to there. Back to there. Out to the side to there. Thigh swivel. He's got a knee bend, but it's going to get caught up on everything. The foot swivels, not in any meaningful way, and then the thruster's on a ball peg. And yeah, there you go. That's your thrust. And then for comparison, we're going to put him next to, I'm just going to try and get him into a more stoic pose here. The Takara, the newer Takara Starscream. And it's a fucking joke, having these two next to each other. It's, you know, I was sitting here thinking, like, I want to get some cone heads so I could just finish out that shelf and just be like, you know, oh yeah, probably replace them at some point. But I can't stand the sight of this thing. This thing is garbage. It is hot garbage. This thing was, I found this on eBay for $120. The seller sent me an offer, I think, of $80. I accepted it, and I regret $79.99 of that purchase. It's crap. It's just total crap. You know, it wasn't great for its time, and it's awful for today's standards, aesthetically. And you know, one might sit there and say, well, you know, maybe if you have MP10. No, if you got MP10, go with the fucking Make Toys Seekers. Those things are much more in that line of thought than this is. This was Takara. So let's do the line again, the lineage of the Conehead Seekers. So Takara makes Starscream, MP, I think it was 03. They used that mold quite a bit. It was crap. iGear takes the mold, knocks it off, improves some of the joints, and makes some cone heads and stuff. Makes it a little bit more streamlined, makes it better. Okay. Takara sees what iGear did, and they're like, hey, we could do that too. So they do the same thing with their MP11. And then they drag their fucking asses until right near the end of the lifespan of that mold. Then they start cranking out these cone heads. And the cone heads were garbage from them. And then BB7, I think we looked at one of them, and Yes Model both started making cone heads as well. Now they were making them somewhere based off of the MP11 and the iGear molds, not the Takara, because the Takara ones hadn't come out yet. So they were trying to do their own thing, and then Takara's came out and just, I mean, it was a crapshoot either way. So this is what we get with using a dated mold that was retooled and is a dated mold, and base our design off of a dated KO of a dated mold. Like, it's just like, it's dated. It's not good. People wonder why, a lot of us switched out our Starscream from the MP11 to this Starscream. This is why. This is fucking garbage. I don't have any positives to say about this figure at all. I regret this purchase, almost completely, outside of being able to have this conversation. That's it. That's the only positive remark I have for this figure. I have the official Ramjet, so we'll look at him next, and then we'll do the Make Toys Dirge. And you guys, will probably see what I'm talking about here, but I can't recommend this at all. I mean, for any run, for any reason, for any price, really. If somebody says, here, I want to give this to you, tell them, you got anything else to sweeten the deal? Maybe kick me in the nuts or something? Just something that'll make me feel good about life. You know what I mean? I mean, that's how little I regard this figure. It's nothing. I can't recommend it. It does not hold up well. It wasn't all that great when they came out, because they were using dated molds. And it's like, I'm hoping Make Toys finally puts out the rest of their cone heads, because their Dirge is dangerously on the line of being dated as well. And Takara and Deformation Space, what the hell's wrong with you guys? It makes no sense. You get the main 3 out, both companies do, and it's like, if you want to make more money, start cranking out the different colors and cranking out the cone heads. Use this mold until you can't use it anymore. That's the purpose of the Seeker mold. It's a money-making tool. You make one mold, and then you can get at least 6 main characters out of the deal, and another at least 3 more for the Rainmakers. And then, depending on what your opinion on Rainmakers are, you can get you could also do like Acid Storm and Sunstorm, 2 more, and the Clone Warrior. So you could get 6 more jets out of that, plus any of the G2 and Action Master ones. It's like you could really milk the shit out of your mold. And it's like, I don't understand why Takara and Deformation Space, who just made out, both the companies just made new Seekers, why they haven't done the cone heads or any repaints since then. Especially Deformation Space. It's like, this is a money-making tool. Utilize it. Don't just let it sit there. Because, hell, I have the Takara main 3, but if they were to put out the Rainmakers for Deformation Space or cone heads, guess what? I'm in line. I'm getting them. I will buy the shit out of that. First to the finish line, right? This is not a really good option. And it's like, I sat there like, do I get this or do I get those Zeta cone heads? And God, those Zeta cone heads were garbage. And it's like, you know what? Maybe I should have got the Zeta ones, because at least that would have been garbage that looks good. You know, it's like the core of the bodies look good. The face sculpt are garbage, but those ones, at least the body looks pretty decent. So it's like, maybe I made a mistake here. I don't know. I definitely made a mistake. There's no question. Maybe I made I made a fucking mistake on this thing. All right. That's all I got for this guy. I just pass. 0 out of 10.